What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna finally be adding a chrome bumper to my Mazda B2000. Now right now I have the factory all black bumper on it, and I got my hands on just the chrome section of it. The rest of it I'm gonna reuse for my bumper, and we are gonna have to do a little bit of work on that because it is kind of faded, the paint is kind of peeling off and everything, and I'll show you guys here in a bit so you guys can see it, but it is gonna have to have some work done to that. Now I could go ahead and go online and purchase some of that, but talking with a couple buddies and everything, they're saying the fitment on those new replacement parts is very bad. So I think we're just gonna try to do our best right now to paint those end caps, paint that bottom section black, get it all nice and shiny, kind of back to that factory look, and then add the chrome bumper to it. So let me show you what we have here, and then let me show you what is going on in the front so we can get to it. And real briefly here, I'm gonna show you, excuse my mess, my trailer has become my parts storage of everything that we got coming up. But anyways, you can see here, nice and shiny chrome bumper. I'm really excited about that. I think it's gonna make the truck look a little bit better. I think this is just gonna tie in the wheels and some of the other chrome that we have on the truck, so it's just gonna make the truck look better in my opinion. So this is what we're working with. Like I said, this is just the section that we're gonna be replacing on the current bumper. So we're gonna move over there and show you what we got. And here we are looking at the front of my truck. But basically what is happening right now is I have my end caps here. The paint is just completely coming off. This is not paint from something else. This is the actual plastic that is now showing through the end cap. And you can see mainly the end caps are the ones that are really bad, but also that's happening in this bottom part, which we also need to reuse because all we're changing today is going to be this part here on the top. But first we're going to take this bumper off, and to do that it's going to be super easy. You're going to have two 17mm bolts right here on the front, two 17mm kind of from the top, and then a 12mm on this side and a 12mm on that side. Yeah, let's get this one off. And there is the bumper off. Now don't forget to get your blinker light disconnected before you fully pull it out. Once you have that disconnected, this is pretty much ready to get moved to the workbench, where we're gonna start then undoing the bits and other parts that are in it. As far as this goes, we are pretty much done right here. Obviously we are gonna want to take our turn signals off, and then we also have these little bars here that hold the bumper on the driver's side and the passenger side, and they are looking a little rough, so I think it's gonna be a great time to paint those as well, so that way they're a little protected and then they'll start getting more rusted than what they already are. Now behind here is a bunch of bolts that we need to remove to get this part off, and there's really not a lot to explain on them besides just this ones right here. So you see this one, and then you see this bottom one right here. That is more of a plastic tab with a little retainer. So that's the only ones you need to watch out for. Make sure you remove them. Make sure you try not to break those tabs if you are going to reuse yours. If you are putting new ones in place, then I guess it won't matter, but you might need those little clips too, if anything. If you are getting some new parts as well, sometimes they don't come with those brackets. Sometimes they do, so watch out for that. If you need to swap them up, swap them over. And besides that, everything else is just 10mm, I believe. Let me just double check. Yes, sir. And I got here my 10mm socket, so everything is going to be 10mm. So we're going to have to just basically start going from the right side to the left side and start taking all the bolts that we need. Again, I'm keeping the sides and the bottom, and then once we get them out, we're going to start worrying about painting them. In typical old car fashion, the right side was giving us some problem, but that one came off fine. Those bolts are going to need to be replaced. The left side is over here, still giving us problems, so we are going to Dremel them out, get them out of here, and then we're going to replace that hardwood with something else. Alright guys, so we got the end cap here finally off, and honestly I was so concerned with getting this little nut, you can see right here, cutting that out with the Dremel and everything, that I ended up just melting right through it. And you can see right here as well, it kind of got a little messed up right there. So again, I'm going to replace the hardware, so it's not a big deal. It did make that hole a little bit bigger, so we are going to deal with that eventually, but everything is off now. So here we have the bumper parts. They have been sanded down and scuffed. I didn't actually purposely get out to sand them down, but the scuffing pad that I got is pretty abrasive, so it took out a lot of the paint that was already on the parts, which is great because it was already peeling anyways. This is pretty much ready to go. I need to wipe them down just with some clean cloth and make sure there's no dust or anything like that, but the weather has been pretty bad. I don't know if you can tell. You can see here it's been wet and everything. So temperatures have been under 60 degrees for the past couple of days. So it really has put me a bit behind on painting these pieces. And here inside of the garage, we did the same process here with my little brackets. Now we scuffed this up with the 3M pads over here. I'll link you guys in the description for them. We then hit this with the Bulldog addition promoter. I really recommend this. We are going to use this on the bumper parts themselves as well, because it really makes your paint bond into it. And then once you leave that on for about 5 minutes, then we came in and hit it with the chassis paint. This is what I use on my trailer. So I'll link you guys again in the description if you want to pick up any of this stuff. This is looking great. I do need to come in and do another coat on the top and then do another coat on the back of it. Check it out, guys. So we are inside of the garage. We actually had to take the truck out. The weather has been absolutely terrible out there. It is cloudy, kind of cold. It's been raining on and off. So I've been waiting for it to get a little bit better, but it hasn't. So we're just gonna have to kind of push through it. I set up my little work area here. Let me show you. We got all our parts. I'm gonna do one final wipe down on this. Make sure there's no dust or anything that might cause the paint to not stick to it. Wipe the back of this one one more time, and then I'm gonna hit this with some paint as well. Since we are inside of the garage and we don't have as good as airflow as I would like, I do have my little fan going on the back to try to push some of the fumes out, but I do have a respirator as well. Make sure you are trying to be safe with this if you're painting anything. So I'm gonna use a respirator, and then the things we're gonna use today is gonna be, you saw this a little earlier, the chassis paint. That's gonna be only for the brackets. For the plastics themselves, I'm gonna use the BHC plastic paint. I had good luck with this. This is how I painted my interior trim pieces, and they look absolutely great. So I'm hoping it's gonna be the same result with these exterior ones. And again, first of all, we're gonna use the Bulldog addition promoter. So we're gonna spray that one first, then wait for it about 5 minutes. Then we're gonna come in and spray the plastic paint, do a first coat, wait for it to dry out a little bit, then come in and do a second coat. I only have one can right now. I don't think it's gonna be enough for all of these pieces. So I think while I spray it and wait for a coat to dry, we're gonna go to the store and get another one. Alright guys, so we are done spray painting my plastic bumper pieces here. And surprisingly, I was able to do 3 pieces with just 1 can, and I think it looks pretty good. If you get a second can, it's going to look obviously a lot better. You're going to have some more solid coats on it. Honestly, let me show you here. It's not bad as it is. So this is just 1 can. I think I did, man, I don't know. I think I did maybe like 3 or 4 coats on the whole 3 pieces. So I got a lot of usage out of it. It's basically almost empty. Might have just a little bit left in there, but I mean, look at this. This looks a lot better than what we started with. The starting point was just paint flaking all over the place, looking great throughout the bumper. Now we just look like an even black coating. And another reason why I like this paint too is because it just makes the plastic look like it came factory like that. Now, obviously, I'm not the best spray painter at all. Probably can tell in some areas I might have stayed a little bit too longer or might have gone over a little bit more than the other areas, but I am not complaining. I mean, especially if you're trying to do this on the cheap, if you don't want to pay to actually have this professionally painted somewhere, this is a very good alternative. So make sure you're prepping your stuff good and then paint it. Obviously, try not to have big overspray. You can see I got all of mine pretty good. I don't think I have spots where I overspray, except for maybe one. Let me see if I can find it. I think this little area, I did get a little bit of overspray there because I stayed a little bit too long painting there. But outside of that, we are looking awesome. Very happy with this. I'm going to leave it here a little bit longer. We're gonna wait for it to dry a little bit more, and then we're gonna start adding this into the chrome bumper. So it has been some time now. The parts here should be pretty dry. They actually don't take that long to dry. This paint is pretty good about that. So I just left them about, I don't know, I think 30 minutes, 40 minutes just to dry some more, and we should be pretty good to go. And now I have here my brand new chrome bumper. Look how nice and shiny it is. It's gonna look great on there. One curious thing, the OEM ones come with 2 holes here, 1 in the center and then 2 on the side. Now the bumpers themselves come with way more. You can see see we have one in the middle here and then another one in the middle here. Now it's up to you if you want to just kind of drill it and put a bolt there to just kind of keep it a little more tight against the bumper. I might do that, but first I'm going to put it how it is and then see how it looks. If I feel like it's a little too separated, then I'll add those 2 holes in here. We have our brackets here nice and painted. We have our other pieces. I actually kind of forgot to paint this ones. I was so caught up with getting everything else done that I do think they should be painted at some point, but I'm not going to worry about it today. Now I have my old bumper here and I wanted to show you one thing. When it comes to the brackets get attached to here, and this is the piece that you need to remove from there. So this piece is kind of slided in here, so you have to get a flathead screwdriver and kind of pop those little tabs a little bit. Try not to break them, just pop them enough to where you kind of slide it on one side, then you pop the other one and slide it out, and then you're going to take the whole thing. This piece I am going to reuse on my new bumper. Some of the bolts that I got from the old one, I'm going to reuse them as well. Now I did get some new ones. Since the corner on the side pieces are pretty much got burned and everything when I was trying to take it off, I did get this bolt that has a Torx bit on the top, so it still looks rounded like the rest of them, but it has this Torx right here on the top, so that way I can hold it and tighten it. Now I also have some new hardware to go with the chrome because all the bolts on the older one are black. These ones are going to be just shiny and it'll match the rest of it. I'm keeping black bolts on this side and black bolts on the other side, but everything along the bottom of it, we're going to have this new shiny kind of chrome bolts as well. So now that we have all our pieces here, we have all our hardware and everything, we are going to start putting this together. And the first thing we're going to do is I think I'm going to start attaching all the actual bumper pieces into it. Well, you know how I said I was going to start with the bottom, get to the sides, and kind of basically leave these brackets towards the end? Well, I lied. You have to put these brackets in here whenever you're going to put this piece because they actually kind of integrate right here on this bottom bolt. So these 2 bolts go through both the plastic piece, the metal, and the bracket. You will have to add this at the same time you're doing this. And the best way to go about it is going to be, in my opinion, kind of just line up your first center hole here for the plastic piece, then move on into doing the bracket. Once again, you're going to have to slide this kind of adapters into the bumper first, and then you can come in and put this other one. Nothing is super tight right now. It's just kind of mocked up. So we're going to put the next bracket here on the side, and then we're going to go through the bottom one and do the other ones that we need to. I want to mention just a couple things to keep in mind when you're doing this. This area could use a washer. This could use a washer. The top maybe not so much because you have the metal here, so it's not too bad. But this 2 and then the one in here could use a washer. Another thing too that I noticed is that at least my end cap here is not lining up with the hole. Don't forget to put your little tabs in here as well. Those are the ones that just go pushed in, and then get some washers for this side. But yeah, this side is looking good. We are going to go ahead and move on to the right side, do that one. And then also don't forget to go around and tighten up any other bolts. Another thing to keep in mind as well too is this plastic piece likes to move, so make sure you're lining up the edge of the bumper with the edge of this plastic piece. I had to loosen it a little bit, push it in, and then tighten it up again. Check it out, guys. This and that looking 10 times better already. This is looking great. I can't wait to put this back on the truck. I do want to touch on a couple problem areas now that we have put both sides in there. If you line up these holes with the bumper line and everything is great. It does not appear to line up anywhere else on the center. I don't know why. The shape of the bumper again could be the cause of it. I already adjusted it, loosened the bolts, and tried to adjust it again and everything, and it's just not working. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna drill these 2 other holes. Probably won't be able to tell here on video, but it's just kind of dipping a little bit, and I don't like that, even though we are going to have a bit of a gap along this line. Again, links for everything that I'm using are going to be down in the description. Have a link for a chrome bumper from eBay if you guys want to pick one up and everything, and links to the spray cans and all that stuff. So we have added our 2 extra bolts in here, and I think that looks great. It all makes it nice and even throughout the bottom of here. We are pretty much done with all of the bumper stuff here. Let me clear all of this out. Let's get the truck back in, and then we're finally going to be able to put this on it. So let's get it done. All right, we have the truck now in the garage, so we are gonna be ready to install this bumper, and this is gonna look so good. Now I do want to give you a heads up, if you end up buying this bumper from Amazon or eBay or anywhere else, all the aftermarket bumpers never fit quite right. You most likely won't get this fitment right off the bat. Keep that in mind if you're gonna purchase one, because sometimes you'll have to modify them a little bit just because they all seem to be made just a little off at all times. Please don't expect this level of how good it fit right off the bat. This one actually came from my buddy Grant's truck, so he had already done some of that molding work before I got it. We are now ready to get this in place. Look at that, guys, that looks great. I did mess up a little bit on some parts, and I'll show you here in a bit. But also when you're adding this on, you can kind of tell here, at least I can tell, this gap is a little bit bigger than that gap. I did add some washers in here, so if we go over here and look through the top, you can kind of see the little shiny washer right there. That thing shining right there, that's washers. I added 2 of them on this side, 2 of them on the other side. 2 of them, it seemed to be pretty perfect, pretty spot on as how it was. Stock, you don't want it to be touching the grill at all. You want to have a gap in there, but you want it to be a nice even gap, and I think we did a good job on this side. The one thing that does kind of suck is that the other side seems to be a little bit bigger gap, so I might have to add 1 more washer on the other side. And then another thing I noticed as well is I forgot to paint kind of this edges here a little bit. You can kind of tell that could have been better. Outside of that, this is looking sweet. Yeah, I think I don't daily drive my truck, so if you wanted to make this last a little longer, I would recommend adding some clear coating. Also, don't forget to put the little supports on this side. All right, guys, so check it out. There it is. All my lights are in there, and if you're paying close attention to this, you might notice we have no more amber lights here in the corner lights. That's right, I updated my corner lights. We're going with the all clear, especially now with the black bumper and the chrome part of it. I think this fits just a lot better this way. But this looks absolutely great. I can't believe the truck looks so much better like this. I should have done this a lot sooner, but there you go. There you have it. And just to give you a little perspective here, we're going to look at my 88. This is how the bumper was pretty much looking before. I mean, you can see all this cracking. This one is in a lot worse shape than the other one was. But yeah, just going from this to this looks beautiful. I love it. So there you have it, guys. That's really all I have for you today. I mean, this looks absolutely awesome. I'm so happy we had this turn out. I think if your bumper is looking like mine was and is looking a little worn out, this is a mod you should definitely do. Even if you don't upgrade to a chrome one, just repainting your factory one and just revamping it look a lot newer is going to make your truck look just so much nicer. It just changes the whole front of your truck, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for watching, guys. That's really all I have for today. So hopefully we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye. For you today, look at this. I'm super happy with how it turned out, honestly, guys.